Hello there. So, rather than making a journal entry, I decided to make a video. What I would like to do with this channel, which is a bit lacking these days, is if there's a way I can embody both the energies of trying to dream and um, have a hopeful outlook, but also express my vulnerability and doubts and fears healthily, because one of the thing why are we afraid of being vulnerable most of the time? Well, at least with me, I have noticed that whenever I share such things as doubts or fears, or when I'm not in a good place, generally one of the listeners, someone eventually comes along and tries to explain to me what I'm doing wrong, or try to change the way I'm feeling, maybe become some sort of teacher I didn't really ask for, or unsolicited advice, when sometimes I feel it's just good to allow someone to express their feelings without altering them. And there's this sort of like lack of trust when a person says they have the advice and they know exactly what you need. They often are assuming things about that they know about you without you saying your complete story. And they're also saying that they don't trust you to know your own um, way of doing things. And sometimes we just say our feelings to vent them, just to be like, well, this is what I'm feeling. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with what I'm feeling, even though it is uncomfortable. I also find a lot of people with, my brother once coined this term, cult of positivity or oppressive positivity. This idea of not allowing things to be whatever they are. There are many things in this world that are sad and regrettable, such as death, or death of loved ones, things that we need to have grievance over and to feel these feelings so we can work through them and get back, allow our flow state. Whereas if we don't allow these things, they gum up the works, they bog up our flow state, and we're not able to function. Our output doesn't work as well, our input doesn't work as well. We aren't like an antenna of the universe anymore where we just need to stop. And sometimes we need to just stop and just allow whatever it is we're going through. Um, that's a bit of an introduction. We're 3 minutes in here. How do I feel lately? Um, what I don't like about the vibe of most spiritual videos I've come across, or not even just videos, just encounters, is there's always some sort of salesmanship attached to it somehow, acting as if we're on top of the world and free, when, for me personally, I feel like most money in this world is being used as a weapon so that we are all slaves to it in some way or capacity, always plugging ourselves. If it's not money, then we're using propaganda, self propaganda, or I don't like feeling like the only way to money and abundance is by somehow demeaning someone else. And when you tell someone that their feelings are wrong and they need to change them and have a sunnier outlook on whatever they're going through, you're invalidating their feelings then and there. You're also claiming to know better than them without really thoroughly investigating who they are and what they know and what they don't know. Um, and I just don't want to be one of these imposing people who acts like I know more than others. I'm an expert, so you must pay me more money than others. I don't even like the idea of me having a bunch of abundance and other people not. Um, I don't want to get into this overcompensation lifestyle. Uh, this, but anyway, it's just this world is pretty depressing to me because every time I've put it out there to be vulnerable, be off my authentic self, be who I really am, I encountered these kind of like uh, propaganda salesman kind of people. You know how the texts are these days. You always get a bunch of people intruding on your space. You can have a non-solicitation number, and people are still trying to sell you something or scam you. Um, so a lot of energies feel like a scam. So that's kind of strangers knocking on your door. But when I've actually made friends with people, generally it still was about self propaganda. I would go over other people's houses. No one would come over my house. Uh, I want to build a constructive world where we all create art and build alternate worlds where we're not just talking about death or you know, I relate to, the goth and punk scene growing up, but as I've gotten older, I'm like, I've heard, I have I've done a lot of void digging and existential thought, and to the point where I don't really desire it anymore, or thoughts about death. When are we going to really live? If with, I feel like the world has been tricked into thinking that good and balanced and spiritual things are always some form of blindness. So the result is the definition of being real and authentic is become a void digger, become a goth, or I don't even have a problem with goths. It's just this place where nihilism is you seeing reality when we can create our own reality. There's a certain level of truth to new thought, mesmerism, law of attraction. There's a certain level of truth to that, but there's also the truth about becoming blind to what's really happening and trying to impose your dreams so deeply that you're actually invading other people's dreams. If that makes sense. Let me know if any of this is resonating with you. Um, I'm just venting my frustrations with many years of experience that have not led me to where I want to go and what I want to become. And that's why I'm sharing these things with you, because this is for other people who feel similarly. If I said anything that, triggered you, kind of don't really like trend words like trigger, but if I've said anything to upset you that wasn't the intent, I'm just expressing my genuine emotions right now. They're not meant to hurt, they're meant to expand and to resonate with those who actually feel pretty good when they hear these words. And I see everything I'm saying as I don't prefer the term positive, as a healthy, balanced release. I don't see it as some people call negative, um, as a bad thing. Um, so, what's a nice little sum up here? I would just say there has to be a way where we all can be our authentic selves, where we're not trying to sell anything to anyone, where we're not trying to feel as if we need to get better. I think we already are our best selves if we allow it and accept it. We don't need to go level up or get to the next level. I think spirituality for me is a lot of letting go of projections, actually a strip away of a lot of false things, foreign energies that were placed on you since you were a kid, such as the current structure that is now that um, created parents who weren't very good at communicating with their family, or they were stuck in the employment cycle to value the employment and the money and survival over expression, self-actualization, and thriving in the artistic fields. Um, and yeah, so it's all about release for me. You can release not only your fears or anxieties, but also your dreams. I also see projection that way. A lot of people refer to projection as a bad thing, and it can be. You can project. what, your fears or sadness or whatever onto other people and act like they're the ones doing it. But we can also project our dreams out there, in which it's all a release. The flow state is so important because if we don't allow everything that we're experiencing through us, we won't let it go and give it to the world to allow it to change it or allow it to be as it is, to become, and also to just allow us to go where we're going. So I'm putting a lot of trust and faith in just releasing this video. I had no plans of what I was going to say. I had a sort of an idea of how I was feeling, and this is what the result was. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a lovely day, and there is a lot to look forward to. I genuinely believe.